Hello and welcome to Sea Power. This is a new game to me. I've not had much experience with this. I've played one scenario so far and got hooked on it, so I figured it would be a good time to fire up some recording software and record my experiences here. So checking out this game has been a lot of fun. There are some campaigns, but I don't think I'm quite ready for those yet. There's some longer form missions and even a persistent campaign, which I will definitely check out in the future. But for the time being, I need a bit more experience because the first run was not very successful. What we're going to do instead, we are going to check out a scenario up here. So in the scenarios, we just have a full list of available scenarios. There's a huge amount in here to go through. And I've picked one that I think seems like a bit of fun, and we shall go ahead and give it a go. It's this one here. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to attempt the name of the mission. And so we're up on the Norwegian coastline, and there is a group of NATO warships that are here in this task force. We've managed to sneak ourselves in closer than the enemy is expecting. They're bringing down a landing force and possibly some resupply ships. And as they're coming down, we need to use the coastline to our advantage. They have the technological edge over us. So we need to stay quiet, stay hidden, and then when the time is right, we need to go ahead and strike. We've got 2 submarines with us, so we'll be able to use those to listen for the enemy, and potentially, if we manage to get into an advantageous position, hopefully send out some torpedoes and strike. Let's get going. So here we go then, here's the overall brief. We need to sink all of the landing ships to complete our mission. So let's go ahead and start this here. This game is incredibly beautiful. We've got a lot going on already. Let's pause it. We're going to take a look at some of our forces here. So we have 2 fast attack craft down here. We have Falcon Grib, and they have on them some anti-ship missiles here, some Penguins. They have 6 of those each, so they will hopefully come in handy. We've then also got another group of 2 fast attack craft down here, and they have 4 of these anti-ship missiles each, and then we have our main force down here. So this is headed up by the Narvik. There she is. So fairly low tech it seems. We have 6 of these Penguins. We do have some Sea Sparrow, some anti-air missiles, but that's about it. Nothing really super long range, and if we were to take a look through at some of the other ships in this task force, we're all fairly limited on capability. So we need to try and use the coastline, help mask our signatures, and keep quiet. We do not want to be using much radar if we can avoid it, and we mainly want to be listening for the enemy's radar. We do also have out here some caps. We've got some F4s, so they are going to provide some anti-air, and we can probably use these guys as radars so that they're away from the main force, so we can get away with scanning some targets without exposing where our main force actually is. Now, although they are listed as cap, they are loaded up with a whole bunch of bombs. We may get a chance to use those. We'll see. Supposedly the enemy has got a technical advantage on us, so that may be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll give it a go. And also we do have up here in the north, we have Augusta here, which is a American sub. Now this is loaded up with a bit more advanced weaponry, it seems like, for the time. So we have some harpoons, and we have some tomahawks here, some anti-ship missile tomahawks, and some TLAM, some land attack tomahawks as well. That might be useful. This should also have a bit of a better sonar system. It does, so we can stream out our towed array and hopefully listen in to some targets. We're nice and slow, fairly low, so we'll let Augusta listen for a little while and see if she picks anything up. So, what do I want to do first? Well, we've got a couple of noise contacts that we should investigate. We have our 2 subs here with some anti-submarine torpedoes and some anti-ship torpedoes. So we can go ahead and hopefully try to identify what these guys are. Now, these guys, we're going to have them
turn to course.
Alter their course slightly.
3, 1.
They're down here at 4 knots, so I'm more than happy with that. Let's unpause.
Turn to course. 0,
And this
7,
one,
8, helm.
so seeing as we are already at periscope depth here on Utstein, what I'm going to do is we're going to raise our ESM mast and our periscope and see if we can get a visual on this target out here. Let's take a look at that. We can just see her there.
Track 7, 0, 0.
Okay,
2,
so we can
classified.
see that
Neutral
this
merchant.
is a neutral merchant. This is going to be very useful. So let's drop this down, and we are going to try and tuck in behind this merchant,
Maneuvering eye.
and hopefully use that to mask our signal. Is the same true over here? So, on the Cora,
Raise the
again,
ESM
ESM mast and periscope. Let's get her to identify this merchant, which it is.
7,
Nice.
0, 0, 1 is classified. Neutral.
So we have these 2 merchants. Let's keep our track behind them, and hopefully any noise that we do make gets masked. Very good. We have these 2 fast attack crafts. They are automatically set up to come around this corner on the mission. What I want to do is, with our cap here, I want to select our flight lead, and they're going to fly up and towards this direction. We know the enemy is around this direction and heading towards us. So let's fly up in this direction, and with these guys, they have their air search and surface search radars on. I'm more focused on our surface contacts, so what I'll do is I'll get them to drop down to 3,000 feet, and hopefully they should get a bit better chance of seeing stuff on the surface. So we'll let these guys go and do a scan. We'll let our subs try and catch up with these merchants, and then we'll see how things progress. So while these guys are continuing their flight out to try and get some radar contacts, we're going to take a look up here at Augusta. So we should have our towed array out. We do, so that will be listening. We haven't picked up any contacts. So what I'm going to do with Augusta here is we're going to come up to periscope depth. We are then going to raise the ESM mast and see if we pick up any contacts. And if there's still nothing, then I may pop up the radar here and see if there's any contacts that we can see. Okay, we picked up some emissions.
New air. Contact detected.
Let's look at these on the big map.
Contact faded.
So
Track
these
7,
are
0. Contact faded.
air
Track
contacts.
7, 0, 0,
We're only getting
5.
very limited information because we are a very long way away, so they could be anywhere within this yellow oval. Travelling around 100 and something knots at about 1,000 feet, so that could be a helicopter. There is a noise over in this direction as well. I believe that's being picked up from the local sub though, as being a noise. But we have no emissions around us. So let's turn south. Let's see what the range is on these Tomahawks. So it is a large range, but it's still a very long way from where we are. So we may try and get Augusta down here to get into the fight. We may need assistance. Let's bring up our radar mast on Augusta and see if anything is found. These are a long way away, so we'll only do this for a very short amount of time. See if anything is nearby. Okay, we're not finding anything, so let's lower that down. We're going to order our depth to be very deep. We're not in a lot of water here, we've only got 212 feet of water, but they will go as low as is safe to do so. And then let's increase our speed. We'll try and bring ourselves down to the south here, maybe get into some sort of engagement range. So, a little bit of time has passed. I've had both subs raise their ESM masts, and we've definitely got these two contacts here, and they do appear to be helicopters. I do not want them to be able to spot my subs here. That will give the game away. So what we're going to do is bring in our cap as quickly as they can without burning too much fuel, and we are going to try and engage these air contacts. And what we're also going to do is, with our two fast attack craft down here, what I'm going to do is, just while we've got these air threats up, I don't want these guys overtaking the submarines really. I want the subs to be able to spot enemies first. So I will just delay these ever so slightly. I'll turn them away and we will bring them back around behind this headland. These guys are fine, they can keep coming up. I will probably just have them, again, tuck in behind this headland. The expected area for our enemies is around this area. So we'll keep tucked in away behind. These guys are emitting, so they will likely have a location on these two craft at this point. So I want to tuck away until we've dealt with this threat. We also now have a hostile warship showing up. So we have, this is again through the ESM mast, we have located roughly a contact here, and it has been identified as an enemy signal. So what I want to do is put these merchants in between us and them. I'm going to drop the ESM mast on Utstein, and I'm going to try and increase a little bit of speed just so that we can tuck behind. Cora still has the ESM mast up, but is unable to pick up this target. We now have a huge amount of targets detected. These all appear to be enemy ships as well, I would assume. We are now starting to get some radar echoes, so we have accurate positions on these. We're not just reliant on ESM masts. We have our F4s shining their radars, so this I believe is going to be that resupply force, and then this is the enemy contacts. We've got no radar response from this supposed helicopter, but we'll see how we get on. I don't want to get too close. These are likely going to be fairly capable warships with some good anti-air missile systems. We now have a radar contact on this. I'm going to mark this as hostile. I do believe this is going to be an anti-submarine helicopter. So let's go ahead, tell these guys to engage this helo, and we are going to keep an eye out and see if we detect any missile launches towards our F4s here. We have detected a SAM launch, so we have some SAM-3s coming in. They are gunning this helo, they've splashed it. Let's run away. Let's go max down to 1,000 feet. Let's try and get these F4s out of the way of these incoming missiles. They managed to take out the helicopter, so now it's about running. We're back feet wet, so it's dropped to 100 feet. We're going to make sure these guys stay well out of the way for now. And in fact, let's come down to the south. I want to investigate this contact. We are likely fine, so I'm going to go ahead and tell them to decrease their speed. Oh, okay, we're not fine. Missile just hit the end of its range there, it seems. Keep these guys going. So we've got one of those helos out, which is great news, because it means hopefully our subs can stay hidden a little while longer. I want to take out this second possible helicopter. Then we can use our F4's radars to get some accurate marks on these guys. Let's have a look at our submarines and some of our anti-surface torpedoes. So this red ring is their range, so we are not within range right now. We need to close the gap a little bit more. So with our F4s, let's grab the leader. We are going to turn our noses towards where we think this target is, and there we go. We have a radar response from it. That may be a little close. I am going to mark this as hostile. Again, I believe it to be a enemy helicopter. Let's tell them to attack. Haven't got any visual on it yet, so no idea, but the way it is 1,000 feet right next to these enemies, it's very likely to be an enemy helo. This may be a mistake, but we're going to push the attack anyway. See if I can see it out in the distance here. They are firing. And that does appear to be a helo. We do have missiles incoming. So let's select our F4 again. They are running away automatically, which is fantastic. So let's get some full speed going here. So that is 2 helos taken care of. We weren't getting any more. Those were the 2 emissions that we detected. So we'll have our cap run away. We're not getting the little red flashes that mean they're being targeted by some fire control radars, which is good. So we'll have them slow down. Let's have them slow right down to loiter. We'll have them hang around in this area. They will just do circles. So hopefully, if we can get them to climb up to maybe 3,000, they should be able to get good radar on these targets. We're now getting a load of noise contacts off of these. I'm guessing that's coming from some of the subs. See, we are going to be pretty much blind to the enemy as they are with us in terms of noise, because we're hiding behind these merchants. We've been hit. One of my F4s was struck by a missile. That's not good. Okay, so I had not outrun those surface-to-air missiles. That is incredibly unfortunate. Right, so we're only with 1 F4 now, but my plan to get the radar echoes from them does appear to be working. So the F4's swinging around, we have radar echoes, we have a positive radar echo on this. Let's go ahead and give it a go. I'm going to salvo 2 of our penguins towards this radar echo.
7009. Bulldog away. Track. Contact faded. Track 70. Contact faded. Track 7009. Contact faded. Track 700. Bulldog away. Track 7.
So there we go, we have our 2 anti-ship missiles in the air. They are going to avoid the land, which is nice. I do not believe they are land following, so they will just fly into it. And it does appear like they have got a good target. Yeah, this one was marked as an enemy by our ESM detector. So likely this following in convoy is going to be the same. Fingers crossed it is not a neutral merchant, but we will probably find that out towards the end. Now, with our other target here of interest, definite enemy, we are going to take a look. I'm not sure. That is cutting a little bit close to that merchant for my liking. How does it look for our ship that's slightly further back? That gives me a bit more breathing room. So let's go ahead on fault here, and we are going to salvo 2 out towards this radar, and let's take a look at our missile. We hit something, so whatever it was, we hit it. It does not seem like they put up much anti-air. Does not seem to be any defense, and there we go, we killed it, and we can see it does appear to be a warship. Fantastic work. And there we go, that is our other friend smacked by 1. We'll see if the second one comes in. No interceptors. It's like they completely missed these incoming missiles. And the second one hit as well. That should be that ship on its way to the bottom. How is our main force doing? It doesn't look like we're actually going to need them. They are travelling at a speed here of 13 knots. Let's probably try and get them a little bit faster if we can. They are not increasing their speed. Why is that? Is there a ship? So what we can do is we can go into the formation here. We can edit our formation and take a look. So we can see that our formation's current max speed is only 14 knots. Why is that? So let's take a look at some of these ships. That seems pretty small. That's a fast attack craft. And these are these Narvik. Okay, I'm going to split off this tiny little, I guess it's a mine layer or mine sweeper. Let's get rid of this out of the formation and get them to swing across. They're probably not going to be much use for us. Let's see if we can now order some extra speed. We can. Fantastic. Right, they're going to close in a little bit quicker. We still have a radar echo from this craft up here, but we cannot get a visual on it. The Grisha is sinking. I wonder if the Utstein here, if she was to come up, would I be able to see it at this range? It is nighttime, so that does come to our disadvantage. Let's give it a go. Let's come up to periscope depth and let's slow down. I can hear active sonar in the background. That's not good news. There we go. At periscope depth, we are going to raise our ESM mast and our periscope. And let's see if we can get our eyes on anything or receive any more signals. Only getting the radar echo. Like I said, we are 10 miles away, so it's going to be pretty difficult to get a visual on that, especially in the current conditions. Don't think we're going to get anything here, so let's drop everything back down again. Let's speed up. I'm going to stay a little bit higher just so that hopefully they are using active sonar. Hopefully we can sort of stay in the shadow of this merchant.
New air. Contact detected.
So, we've just been told we have a new air contact detected. This is a long way out here, 35,000 feet, doing 458 knots. I believe that is very likely going to be just an airliner. It's not really on an attack profile for us. Let's see if Narvik is able to... Actually, let's try these smaller fast attack craft. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to communicate with it. See, request identify. They agree to comply, and they are a neutral airliner. Fantastic. So, some time has passed. We are now getting noise returns from this contact up here, I believe, and I do also hear some active sonar. So what we're going to do is have our fast attack craft here. They are going to get into a position to attack. They're going to launch a couple of anti-ship missiles. We've actually identified this. This is a Krivak 1. It is burning away. However, I do believe it is still emitting. It is. So what we'll do is get our attack craft into a position. I do not want to accidentally hit this merchant, so we'll need to come quite a long way out to clear the land and the merchant, and if this thing is still alive at that point, we will go ahead and launch towards it. Let's have a look at this Krivak 1 again. Still stopped, still heavily burning, which is good news for us. This noise contact has been bouncing around in this location. I think we've been getting reflections and all sorts because it's been doubling up every so often. But let's have a look at it. So what we can do is we can look at the information and see roughly what our sonar operator thinks it is, and it appears to just be a fishing boat, a trawler here. Okay, good. Let's mark this as a neutral. We shouldn't need to worry about that one. Fast attack craft are still moving into position here. Let's go ahead and bring them up to a suitable speed, and we'll attack this Krivak once again. So some time has passed here, and these attack craft have got into a position where that Krivak should be no longer obscured. We should be able to get some missiles out if it's still afloat. We've actually lost contact on it. But what we have managed to gain is some hostile pings on these contacts here, and we know that at least this one is an alligator. So it is just a standard cargo ship, a landing ship, that has some enemy vehicles on board. So we shall definitely get into a position to attack that. I'm leaning towards using torpedoes from our subs. They've got a fairly small range, so we do need to close in. I'm having Utstein sort of run along the coast here, and then Cora will keep following along this merchant. What I'm actually going to do is have Cora go very deep, and then we are going to speed up a little bit and hopefully close a bit more distance, try and get level with Utstein. We have a new radar echo. I believe this to be the Krivak. So what I'm going to do is, just out of an abundance of caution, let's fire off one of our penguins over towards this target. I don't think it can do anything to us, but if it is still operating, we do want to make sure it is not able to cause any problems for our two submarines, as they are now closing in on. There we go, our missile slammed into the Grisha again here. And hopefully that really has put the nail in the coffin. We still have active sonar pings, so what we're going to do, I believe it must be coming from this Krivak, unless there's something in this group that also can be emitting sonar, which I guess it could be. We've only identified 2 out of the 5 contacts that we have here, so potentially there could be something in here that is able to detect us. I'm going to keep proceeding on. I've had the fast attack craft split up here, so one's going to head north, one's going to head south. Hopefully we can get into a missile engagement position. Okay, we have SAN-3, and that I believe is being fired towards our fast attack craft, so there's definitely something with some teeth out there, and Falk got hit. That really sucks. Okay, I thought we had taken out all of the capable warships, but it seems like we had not. Okay, so Grib is turning off their radar, and they are going to deviate quite a long way north. How are we in terms of missile? We are in a missile range. In terms of lineup, we are pretty good. So out of the targets that we have, we know this is an alligator, we know this is an alligator, we know this is a Rogov, which is another cargo ship. I'm suspecting this 7035 is the target that fired at us. Let's take that and run with it. What I'm going to do is just loose off these last 4 missiles. So I'm going to do a salvo of 4 towards this target 7035. So we have 4 missiles out. I'm going to have Grib turn around so it does not meet the same fate as Falk, although we do have missiles now being detected. Let's check these missiles. We have interceptors being fired up. It does seem like there are interceptors coming from the target we launched at, plus also another. So we still have 2 capable warships out in this area. We'll see, hopefully some of our missiles can make it through. Putting up a huge amount of interceptors. There's chaff going off over on the right hand side. We're not going for that target. There's actually another. Okay, that may be just some anti-aircraft weaponry. Good, there we go. 1 hit on this one that's definitely firing interceptors. There's more interceptors being fired over there. We can't see this target unfortunately, but we'll see. There's another one, another hit. So lots of interceptors, but it seems like maybe a fairly poor interception rate. There's more interceptors firing. And let's take a look at that on the map here. So it seems like this one missed. It's heading for a target behind. And it hit the target behind, it seems like. Fantastic. Okay, so we definitely took out, I believe, one of the big threats there, and then something that was sitting behind it. Hopefully that was an enemy. I believe it likely is. This just group of 6 enemies all together. But regardless, Grib is going to run away, and we are going to leave this now up to the subs. Our submarines have been continuing to close, and they've actually managed to identify both of these warships as Cresta 2s. So this one is completely undamaged. As we can see, we've not hit this yet. That was firing up a whole load of interceptors before. And then this one over here appears to have taken some hits, but is still seemingly fully operational. So what I've got is our 2 fast attack craft. They are heading their way up. Let's see how we're looking. The merchant should be out of the line now, which we're looking pretty good. They are coming into a position where they can engage. I will fire just 4 anti-ship missiles towards each of these targets. They are within torpedo range, so I could get some of those launched out. However, I do not want them to counter-launch against us. So we are going pretty quickly, but we are fairly deep. Let's issue the order to go as deep as we can. I don't know if this is as deep as we can go. It seems like it probably is. So in any case, let's slow right down. I had this sub come up to periscope depth, so it is on its way up. It's going to raise its ESM mast. And as we are slowing down with this, we are now finding all of these new targets. Alright, here we go. So our fast attack craft are now in a position where they should both be able to attack these warships. So let's go ahead and do that. So Rap, we're going to have you just salvo off all 4 of your ship missile, anti-ship missiles towards this Cresta 2. And Rust, you are going to do the same with your 4 over towards that Cresta 2 there.
Contact faded. Track 7070. Bulldog away. Track 7070. Bulldog away. Track 7070. Bulldog away. Track 7070. Contact faded. Track.
And with those missiles away, I'm going to have these turn away so that they do not meet the same fate as poor Falk over here. Let's look at these missiles as they make their way in towards these 2 Crestas. There's quite a lot going on. There's lots of interceptors coming up that are being detected. But as we saw last time, their interception was not brilliant. It does seem like we've probably damaged some of the weaponry on this one at the very least. Some Sea Whiz, but we smashed straight into it. So very good. There's more on the way. Let's check in on the other one. How are we doing down here? More interceptors, more anti-aircraft cannons. But so far, we're looking good. And hit. Very good. Right. Hopefully a few more hits. How's this one doing? Burning pretty heavily. not putting up much of a fight. Here comes another missile into the side. And then down here. This one doesn't seem to be too damaged. It's doing a much better job of defending. And yeah, this only got hit with 1. Wow. Okay, how's this northern one? It got smacked again. I think it's probably the end for that Cresta, hopefully. However, this one is still very much a threat. How are we looking in terms of torpedo range? We are well within range. So, Utstein, let's come up to periscope depth. You are going to launch your torpedoes on this Cresta. And here we are, we're going to launch some of our anti-surface torpedoes. So let's fire one out towards the Cresta here, and actually let's follow up immediately with a second. There goes our second. And then we'll hit this target off to the side as well. No, let's go for the one behind. Just with a single torpedo. These are wire guided, but I do not believe they have any form of seeker, so they will be being guided in by the Utstein. Let's have them come in a bit closer and speed up a smidge, but turn on their radar, see if we can get an accurate position, which we do. Fantastic. So the Utstein here, let's actually have you drop your ESM because you're not actually helping with that. We do have an accurate position on that from the fast attack craft over there. We can see this Cresta with a hole in her side. Now they may counterfire towards us, we will see. If they do, it could be fairly catastrophic. However, it's only doing 14 knots. We've got some 40-knot torpedoes heading towards it. So regardless of what happens, it should be sunk here.
Track 7075 is classified. Hostile warship.
Torpedoes are closing in on this Cresta here. I believe they do have some anti-torpedo weaponry, but that's if they manage to detect them. We shall see. We have no idea what kind of damage they've sustained. Hopefully it's enough to not detect our torpedoes.
Track 7074 is classified. Hostile contact faded. Track 7073.
There we go, fantastic. Right, struck by a torpedo, we see the lifeboats in the water. That Cresta is done, and it got hit by a second one just for good measure. Fantastic. Our third torpedo is just swinging past, and it actually managed to detonate on this as well. I was hoping it was going to head back and take out this Rogov. However, it did not. Right, we have also now identified this Ria's target, which is just some kind of tanker, it seems like. Okay, this Cresta is sitting on the bottom. So, it seems like we're just going to mop up. We still do have this unknown target over the back. We're not sure what that is quite yet. This Rogov does have some weaponry, so we're not going to get close with our fast attack craft and use their guns. There's no possibility of that. I believe they do also have some missile systems or rockets at the very least on board. So we're going to get in nice and close with our submarines and we shall take out these targets. I think we're pretty much good on the threat now, so I'm going to allow these guys to cavitate and get some speed towards the targets. We have 3 torpedoes remaining here on Utstein, so I'm going to fire these towards these 3 targets here. I don't want to slam another one into the Cresta. I think it's sitting just below the surface there, so seeing as they are wire guided, we'll just have all 3. We'll have these 2 fire off towards, but the one destined for the Rogov, that's just going to continue on this track, and then we should be able to turn it a bit later. So let's reduce our speed down to standard, and let's fire off some torpedoes. So we'll have one towards that alligator. Let's have one towards this alligator. And then we will fire one towards the Rogov, but I want to get around this Cresta first, so we'll just fire it towards this location first. And then when it gets a bit closer, when it gets clear, we shall use the wire guidance to turn it in onto its target. We'll have the Cora finish off this Kazbek. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. We're going to have this head towards its waypoint, and we can just go ahead flank, that's fine. We'll close in on some distance. They are electric subs, so they do have a limited range, but I think at this point we are not going to have any problems. We should be nearing the end of this mission.
Hit track 7073. Hit track 7075.
And there we have it. So with the sinking of the Rogov finally, we have the mission completed. There is still one more ship that is hanging around. That is the Kazbek here. And we will be very soon into an engagement range where we would be taking it out with the Cora there. But I am going to end the video here, so let's take a look at the after action report here. So we will exit this scenario, and we can see we have a decisive victory. We managed to complete our objective of sinking all the landing ships, and we sunk the enemy craft listed here. We did, of course, lose Falk, and that got destroyed by a missile from, I believe, one of the Cresta 2s, and obviously we lost one of our F4s to an anti-air missile, and the other one, I thought I told it to head back to base. I'm pretty sure I did that a few times. However, it seems like it just ran out of fuel and fell into the ground. So not quite sure what happened with that. However, very minor losses on our front, very major losses on the enemy front. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.